was a cargo ship built in 1877 in Aberdeen, Scotland. She traveled all around the world as a cargo ship, even stopping at Galveston a couple times in the late 1800s to drop off bananas, which we know about because apparently in 1883, getting a delivery full of bananas was newsworthy. They wrote about it in the paper. TV Crossbridge, that would be Texas A&M University. That's right, folks, we got our own Aggies here in Galveston, but they're not normal Aggies, as if that was even a thing. They're called Sea Aggies because they're one of a select few maritime academies in the country that teach folks how to become crew on large commercial vessels. They also have marine biology programs over there for anybody who wants to study the wildlife in the water, and marine archaeology if you want to be the underwater version of Indiana Jones. Although in reality, I'm pretty sure the only reason the Aggies are actually down there is they're the only people we can find crazy enough who thought it'd be a good idea to build a campus right across the water from the sulfur dock, fertilizer dock, and sewage treatment facilities. But if you ever met an Aggie in real life, you know those smells make them feel right at home, right? Yeah, we got our very own deckhand on the boat. It's actually a Texas A&M Aggie, so he's always sad when we turn around early because he's always looking to get, you know, his little putt in. All that nasty. Just kidding, we're just kidding. Well, if you're looking off to the left, I told you almost everything else over there is oil related, so you might be looking at these structures with the big square legs, and you might think that those look a lot like oil rigs. That's probably because those are oil rigs. They're not drilling though. These types of rigs started getting decommissioned and shut down right around a dozen years ago. The idea was to bring them into a shipyard and maintain them until the price of oil came up. Unfortunately, the price of oil never recovered, so these rigs have now sat around dormant and unused for so long that the technology on board has become obsolete and they're no longer viable for drilling. More than likely, these will get scrapped. Also to the left, though, you'll see the historic Battleship Texas. The Texas is the last Dreadnought-class battleship originally built to serve in World War I. It also served in World War II. In fact, it was one of the ships that fired on the beaches of Normandy during D-Day. After her military career, she was one of the first ships to then be converted into a museum as she sat around the San Jacinto Battleground Monument, which is in LaPorte, Texas, just outside of Houston, unfortunately rusting away in the water she sat in. It got so bad that they quit letting people get on board, and they pleaded with the Texas government, who finally gave them a grant for $35 million to get the hull or bottom part of the ship repaired. And that's what's going on at the moment. They're supposed to get all this work done within a year. They've got about 3 months left to get it all worked out. Then they'll put her back in the water and the next challenge begins. Where is it going after that? One of the conditions for them getting all that money is that they need to find a new location where the ticket price can cover the maintenance cost. The whole museum to get on board and explore. Inside they have 3 floors of displays, interactive exhibits, helicopter on top. So a little bit of something for everybody. And if you're at all interested in learning about the oil industry, take the time to go check out the Ocean Star. where Cruise Ship Terminal 3 is. It's where the cruise ship is. Off to the right is the Allure of the Seas, which last I checked is the 4th largest cruise ship on the planet. It's owned by Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean's not the only cruise ship company we get here though. We also get Carnival, Princess, Norwegian, and in the winter months we also see Disney Cruise Lines as well. If you think about taking a cruise from Galveston, but you're not exactly sure which of the cruise ship companies to pick, I can try to help you out with that too. I've been doing this long enough, piecing together all the random bits of information that people tell me, and what I can gather, if you're the type of person who likes to stay up late, partying, gambling, drinking, or just in general cause a ruckus, well, Carnival is probably the right cruise ship company for you. If you want something a little bit more relaxed and refined, you might be looking for Royal Caribbean, Princess, or Norwegian. But if your idea of a vacation is being stuck on board a small ship with 2,000 screaming kids for a week, I guess you're coming back for those Disney cruises. Good luck with that. But also the Royal Caribbean ship is blocking everything to the right. So if on the left, we're passing the Green Roof building on Pelican Island, which is home to the Pilot Association. Pilots are captains that have been specially trained to navigate one specific body of water. Anytime there's a large commercial foreign vessel that comes into our port, they're required to have one of those pilots on board who will take over and help them safely navigate to and from the dock. So pilots are kind of like the valets of the waterways. Most of the tanks and pipes and stuff are all oil related. Again, almost everything on Pelican Island is. So if you really want to learn about the rest of the stuff you're looking at, you'll definitely have to go take your time on the Ocean Star Museum. We just don't have enough time to really do it justice on our tour, because every time I've been through the Ocean Star, it takes me like 3 hours to get through that whole thing from start to finish. So trying to cover that same information on our tour would also take 3 hours. And I'd imagine there's at least a couple of you who remember how 3-hour boat tours end up. It's not good. So instead, we're going to do what you really bought your tickets for, which is check out some dolphins. Dolphins. Nope, no one else is excited this morning? Okay, there you go. Alright, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, come on, we don't have to stop for them if you don't want to. But they were up ahead to the left. You'll see the green and black barge that has like 10004 on it. That's where I was seeing them. So we'll hang out here for a few minutes to see if they'll come back up. Looks like there may be a few more off to the left where those people are fishing on that little boat.
No, that's a bobber.
No, not that. Past it. See?
Oh, yeah.
Just up ahead to the left, we've got a bunch of things popping up over there. These are the Atlantic bottlenose dolphin. We know that because, well, they're basically the only marine mammals that we get here. Groups called pods. Generally a good sized pod of dolphins and Galveston. It's going to be like anywhere between like 3 and 8.
You see it, Lex?
So even though we'll only see a few come up at a time, it doesn't mean that's all that's down there. Usually they like to leave a few friends around and keep a lookout for danger. Of course, by danger, I mean sharks. Like, oh my goodness, look at the dolphin off to the left, really close.
That's cool.
I got that on camera. Sorry, I'm trying to get in your way.
Oh, I just saw one over there.
I see most of you figured it out, but do remember, you are welcome to move and walk around to get a better view.
I saw it.
Did you?
Yeah.
As long as you do so safely.
I know why Lexi.
behind us too.
There's actually 2 marine mammals that live around Galveston. We have the Atlantic bottlenose dolphins and river otters have recently made their return. Although river otters haven't been back here for very long and their numbers aren't really high enough where we'd have a really good chance of seeing them on our tour. But the bottlenose, they have a healthy, stable population of right around 1,200 that live around Galveston.
Find your way.
No.
Yeah, they're just off to the left, a little bit behind us there. They're the other boat that might be doing their best to catch some fish as well. Which I feel bad for them because turns out dolphins are way better at catching fish than people are. So usually whenever you're fishing and dolphins show up, well, it'd just be about time to move along because if there were fish there, they're not going to be around for very much longer. They scare them away. Mike Tyson says he is after every fight. I'm glad at least somebody thought that was funny.
I like you guys, Disney cruising too. No, thank you.
I don't know, this one's really active back there.
Just up ahead of us, 2 and 10. Pretty cool.
Right there.
Right there, there it is. Yeah.
Sometimes it's difficult for dolphins to choose which direction to go. And if that ever happens, if there's a disagreement in their pod or
There
group,
it is.
all they have to do is flip a coin.
Flipper coin.
Okay, good.
I gotta figure out ways to entertain myself while you're all checking out Dolly. I know you're not really listening to me anyway, so not all the jokes are for you. Most of them are just to see if I can make myself laugh. These ones are coming really close to us. And what's kind of cool is every once in a while when they come up, you'll see their eyes come up out of the water. They don't have to do that.
I saw
All they
its
have to do
eyes.
is get their head up high enough to get the blowhole out of the water so they can take a breath of air. Since they're mammals, they don't have gills, they have to take a breath of air at the surface like you would. So anytime they come up high enough where you can see their eyeballs, when you're looking at the dolphins, they're also looking at you. That's a behavior known as spy hopping. So they're legitimately just looking around to see what's around them outside of the water. Probably have a guide dolphin and they're doing a human tour. Every time they pop up, like, oh, look at that one.
How long can they stay underwater?
So these particular dolphins, these are the Atlantic bottlenose, they can hold their breath under normal circumstances, like just for fun, about 6 minutes at a time. Now, if they're getting chased by something like a shark, or if they're chasing after fish, the maximum that they can hold their breath is about 12 minutes long. But again, that would be under extreme duress. So they don't generally do that on an average. They hold their breath for about six or so minutes.
The amount they can hold their breath increases.
Yeah,
I said it
if they're
decreases.
scared.
They also have a top speed of 22 miles per hour, which is in the water very fast. And although they're fast, they're not the fastest animal that we get around here. The fastest animal that live in our waterways would be the mako shark. Mako sharks live here. In fact, one of their favorite things to eat are dolphins, which is why they like to stay in groups again, stick together in groups. It's easier for a group of dolphins to fight off a very fast shark. Sharks, or the mako, can swim 45 miles an hour, so that doubles the speed of the dolphin. And although that's fast, it's not the fastest fish in the sea. That would go to the sailfish, which have a top speed of 65 miles per hour.
That is.
Well, I just looked down at my clock, and we've been staring at these dolphins for almost 20 minutes. And as much as I would love to be just a dolphin tour, save us in fuel, we're not. We're also a harbor tour. So I think we're going to slowly leave these ones behind And go check out some more stuff. But I'm not gonna lie to you folks. If you ever come on our tour again and you're hoping to see dolphins that are popping up, 10 feet away and hang out with us for 20 minutes, that's not common. Normally they'll hang out with us for like 5 minutes, 10 on a good day. So 20 is sort of unheard of, which is why we hung out here for that long. That was pretty cool. And off to the left. Oh, that one was a baby. So it looks like a little gray football with fins swimming next to it. It's a mama dolphin there.
Oh.
There they go. Couple of them swimming right towards us. Well, dolphins, I told you we're leaving. You're not supposed to give us a better show. Crying out loud. It's almost like they do that on purpose. I told you, they're not all for you. Well, we really do have to keep going. I know there's at least one, psychopath on the boat. Like, I didn't want to see dolphins at all. I didn't get to see the harbor, so we're going to go. We also have a lot more boat traffic in the area, so it may rock and roll a little bit. So again, just make sure you hold on to the railings if you're moving around. You can stay standing or move around all you want. Just stay safe for us today. Even though many attempts were made, by the time the Selma was 3 years old in 1922, it was determined to be non-repairable. So instead they decided to scuttle it, which means they sank it on purpose, right where you see it today. Before they could scuttle it out here though, because the water naturally is so shallow and that shed's so tall, first they dug a trench that was about 25 foot deep. They dragged the Selma through the trench and then they set off the dynamite that put her to rest. So the reason you can see it is because it's on the ocean floor. In fact, it's about 25 feet below the ocean floor. That's how shallow it really is. The reason they were unable to repair it though is because it's made out of something kind of weird. You see, it's not made out of steel, iron, or wood. That is a concrete oil tanker, just like your sidewalk. The reason it was made out of concrete is while it was under construction, the United States was involved in World War I, which means all the regular shipbuilding materials was instead building things like the battleship Texas. They ended up building a dozen ships out of concrete in World War I. This one's the largest and last built during that time frame. But during World War II, as soon as all the steel and iron was getting rationed again, they ended up building 24 more concrete ships.
That's crazy.
But nowadays, it's almost exclusively used as an artificial reef. There's even several people out here today doing their best to catch fish. One of the wildest things I've ever caught around here was about 5 years ago, where not too far from the Selma, someone actually shattered the Texas state record by catching an over 15-foot long, over 1,000-pound hammerhead shark. Wow. Which would be about the same length of shark as our boat is wide. People also ask us all the time if it's illegal to climb on board the Selma, and the answer to that is no, you can. It's not illegal at all. It's a horrible idea, though. The only thing that's kind of holding together the 100-year-old concrete is all that jagged, nearly rusted through rebar. In fact, with all the rust on the Selma, and for as long as you've been staring at it, well, you probably got the tetanus already, so I should have started out with that, but I forgot. Now, do you think that ever stops anybody from getting on board? No, they do it all the time. But we say those people are taking the Darwin test to Galveston. We call it that because about once a year we get a call for the Coast Guard. They have to come out here to unshish kebab somebody who's climbed on board, pieces of the concrete crumpled into the water, where those people were then met by the jagged spears of rusted rebar below. Then they were unable to unshish kebab themselves. So sometimes, folks, just because you can, doesn't always mean that you should. Which is also why we're going to turn around and get out of here. I don't like taking around the pointy bits of the harbor anymore than we need to. Now, on the way back, we are going to have to pick up some speed because we are low on time. So, because it's going to be a little harder to hear me over the wind and engine noise, I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to quit yelling at you on the microphone. You're not safe, though, because our deckhand Gavin's going to walk around. He's going to yell at you in person for me. That way, if you have any questions, he can answer them. Or if you need restaurant recommendations, just tell him the food type you're hungry for, and he'll tell you where to go eat it. If you don't have any questions or don't need anything, though, that's fine, too. That just means this will be your chance to sit back, relax, keep looking out for more dolphins, and we'll get you back to the dock as close on time as possible.
I like this guy.
Said that boat was placed there in 52. It was
1922. Dolphins could only breathe for like 6, or they could only stay underwater for 6
outside, you know, driving a long distance and your brain kind of shuts off.
Yeah.
And then you get to the spot and you're like, I've been driving for the past 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So the dolphins can do that on command. So they can turn off a part of their brain and let them sleep, but when they need air, they'll get up and get the air.
That's cool.
So it's like an autopilot kind of
Yes,
thing.
exactly.
That's cool. That's awesome.
All right, well, y'all need anything else? Y'all know where to find me.
All right.